next question, because we got a few more. So Tony King, he's not on here, but he actually asked this question last week, and I just didn't have time to get to it. And so he says, are there petitions circulating that announces white supremacist members and KKK terrorists? So I was trying to ascertain what he meant by that, and so I looked. I didn't see any petitions announcing KKK members or anything like that, but I did see a few petitions circulating from everyday people trying to get the FBI or somebody to dismantle and to denounce the KKK and all those other groups, but they didn't have any signatures or anything like that. So, but I think what he was also speaking to, we kind of talked about this last week, is when Jeff Sessions was at Capitol Hill, and Congresswoman Karen Bass was asking him questions in regards to, are white supremacists on this list that you guys have? Like, you have the black identity extremists. Do you have white groups on the list? And he was like totally oblivious. Well,
no, he was like, of course not.
Of course, well,
of course
he was trying to beat around the bush and saying no, but it was very clear that, yes, I know that there's black groups on the list, but as far as were there white groups on the list, he was like, well, I don't have to check. I have to read the memos and see and all this other stuff. And then Karen Bass asked him, Congresswoman Karen Bass asked him, are there any hate groups now that are adversary toward police, black hate groups, or black groups in general that are adversary toward police today? And he says, oh, well, I got to go and check. I got to go check and see, but I'm not really for sure. And she was like, the answer is no, pretty much. But you also know that there are white, supremacist groups out there who are doing the most. In fact, I guess there's one group, I can't think of the name of it, that's the most danger to cops that they don't even mention. It's some sort of a militia or something like that. They don't even mention it. So to answer Tony's question, I didn't see any petitions, but there is definitely something going on. Jeff Sessions was taking a grilling, I would call it.
For the third time.
Yeah, for the third time regarding these groups. When are you going to basically admit that the KKK is a terrorist group? Well, he's not, because he said...
he's a member.
And he made a comment saying, oh, I used to think, and I'm paraphrasing, but I used to think the KKK were a good group until I found out they smoked marijuana. So lynching people and all that kind of stuff, that didn't make them bad.
Torturing people.
Yeah, when you found out they were smoking some weed, that's when they were
raping,
bad people.
Lynching, killing, raping.
Yeah, so that's what I found in regards to that. Okay, so let me go back to the questions. Let's see. Okay, so Al says she was so stupid she sold the TV to pay the cable bill. I don't know who she was because I didn't finish your nasty joke. Mm-hmm. And Benny says we spend too much time posturing against each other, but this behavior just furthers my point of how damaged we are as a whole. There are some exceptions, but as a whole, we are very hurt people.
Yes.
Very hurt people. I have a lot of hope regardless. Oh, no, I have a lot of hope too. It's funny because I was reading, as I do every morning early before my feet even touch the ground. I like to read all the news throughout the day because I don't have TV or anything like that. And I read an article that was about a coffee shop in Denver. Well, what had happened was this coffee shop is a white-owned coffee shop, and they're gentrifying in Denver. I didn't even know there was a black community in Denver, but I guess
military. No, go ahead.
But they're gentrifying, and so on the sign it says been gentrifying since 2004, and then on the other side it says something rubbing the gentrification process into
people's faces.
The people's faces, and so the people of the community was like, oh yeah, and so they busted out the window, graffitied on the side of it, white coffee. They started to boycott and picket. I mean, just the people in the neighborhood are taking them to task, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're sorry. We didn't know that was really known as a bad thing." And so it's like, I agree with you, Benny. I'm hopeful too because we are starting to wake up. No longer are we saying, "Oh, everybody." Well, we still are, but not as much. I would say, saying, "Please make them stop. Make them stop being mean to us." We're like, no, we're going to make you stop. Matter of fact, I don't know if this coffee shop I'm going to be here in the next couple of weeks, okay?
Right. I got a question from the internet. And it says...
let me finish these two real quick.
Go ahead.
And so Hannah says, Since I only see two. He says, he's speaking to the facts that black identity groups were targeted. Mm-hmm. Yes, but see, he wasn't speaking to the facts whether white identity extremist groups were targeting. He's just like...
Right, a terrorist group is a terrorist group, so they all should be on the list. Right. So especially ones that have been around for over 200-something years.
Right, exactly. And then, of course, that's going back to that whole COINTELPRO, state of mind. Let's label all these black people because... But this is the thing I like to say, too, to Tony, since it was his question. They... being the powers that be, the FBI, they realize what's going on. They realize that black people are starting to wake up. And so it's like, okay, we can't have this. We need to keep these Negroes asleep. And so that's why they've come out. They just got caught is what it was. Because that memo wasn't supposed to be out, right? It leaked. And so then finally, Richard says the FBI memo had groups that were from 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. Trying to make it relevant. And one more question. Al says, John Singleton talked about gentrification in the movie Boys in the Hood. Yes.
He sure did.
In the 90s. And here we are where we're seeing it right before our eyes. Like I said, I went to Slauson. I went Monday to Slauson with my daddy. This man, he lives in Lancaster. I went to visit him. He wanted me to drive him to Slauson, Los Angeles, which is an additional hour and 20 minutes. So I did. You know what he wanted? He wanted some Stacey Adams. I said, all right, Daddy. I'll take you to get you some Stacey Adams.
Brother stuck in the 50s.
Yeah. I bought him some Stacey Adams. You only live once. But as we were going down there, everything is starting to gentrify. Like areas of Los Angeles that used to be black. They're like, wait, when did this high rise get here? And this upscale business. Yeah. Right. And so what we got from the podcast?
Well, on the podcast, this young lady says, if we wear our hair natural, we are unattractive, and most black men want us to wear our hair long. Now, I'm going to answer this question just real quick. I'm going to put my 2 cents in it.
If y'all heard that, but give me a thumbs up if y'all heard what Donovan said.
If we wear our hair natural, we are non-attractive, and most black men want us to wear our hair long. Okay, I'm going to have to disagree with that. And I'm going to say this. Yeah, you've got those simping niggas that want a Becky with the long, nice, whatever hair it is. The nigga go get Becky with the, long, nice hair. Because if you're a black person, you know how our hair is and how our texture is, whatever. Right. Hair can grow long. Lauryn Hill, she let her hair grow naturally long and locked it out, and like that way, which could happen. Now, young lady, if you're listening and you're still on, I'm going to tell you this. Just a couple of weeks ago, a young lady got convicted.
Oh, God.
For killing 3 people over weave. And one of the 3 people was a fetus baby that was still in the mother.
True.
Do you really want to just, identify with that, just to do that, just so you could impress somebody else? You got to love yourself.
Well, I mean, and I like how you address that, because she's saying that men
are dictating.
She's saying that black men don't really want a woman with natural hair. Because, honestly, my natural hair don't lay down. It goes boop. And so I let it do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I let it do that. But she's saying, which I kind of...
Sure, I agree with
I'm going to have to agree with her a little bit on that. Not even a little bit, a lot. Because there are a lot of men who say, I want a natural sister. But then when you do go natural, it's like, yeah, not quite that natural.
Well, yeah. Well, look, I don't mind it. I don't mind an afro at the top, but I don't need it at the bottom. I'm sorry. That was for Al. I know Al was going to do that one. So.
I can't stand you. Okay, I really can't.
No, but no, young lady, please, you got to love yourself first. You can't be something that you're not.
Yeah, and if a man doesn't love your natural hair, then he won't love you, and keep it pushing. Plain and simple. But
beauty is beauty.
I would say that I do know of a lot of black men who like women with... I mean, hell, it's how our hair grows.
Yes. Knowledge of self.
Yeah, you got to have knowledge of self. And if that man is not trying to be with you because you don't have the long, silky European hair, then keep it pushing. He ain't for you. Let him, like you said, Donovan said perfectly, go find Becky. Whoever that is. And then Billy says, I love natural hair. And Richard says, Donovan for mayor. See?
See, there it is.
And guess who's going to be his campaign manager?
That's it.
And Al says, don't be mad, baby. It's better than... for Pops to have Stacey Adams rather than Hush Puppies, Buster Browns, and Tom McCann shoes. They were probably cheaper though.
Yeah, but you got to take care of your feet. So if you're going to be out there selling Muhammad Speaks and them bean pies, you got to take care of your feet.
That's what he said. He says, "Man, hey Jonelle, what's happening?"
Wait, Jonelle, that's one that goes to jail, right?
Yeah, I thought he was missing.
I was going to bring that up too.
Jail,
I was like, man, your boy went right back to jail.
Yeah. No, he apparently he's still out.
Yeah, he's reformed. Okay.
Let's see how long he stay out, because he still ain't holding no punches at all. Okay.
Good. Keep it real. Keep it real.
And so thank you for that question, listener. Appreciate it. And then so moving right along, let's see. Okay, Sharon. I don't see Sharon on here, but she wanted to know about the countries. He said, laugh out loud, I've made it so far. She wanted to know about the countries that still have slavery. That still
big
have
issue.
the African
big issue.
countries
Yeah.
that still have slavery. So I delved into it a little bit. And so, for the record, it says the type of slavery that is still going on in Africa includes domestic service, debt bondage, military slavery, slaves of sacrifice, local slave trade, sex slave trade, and many more.
Yeah.
Right, that's your point. Many more, okay? Now, according to FaceToFaceAfrica.com, the top African countries where slavery still exists are, oh my gosh, I hope I say this right, Mauritania. Mauritania. And basically, that's where the whites enslaved the blacks, and it says specifically the whites are enslaving blacks who identify as Moors. So they've enslaved them. All right. 2 is Sudan, predominantly blacks enslaving blacks. 3 is Libya, captured and sold by Libyan rebels. Now, these, I guess...
Nigerians.
The Libyans, they're trying to escape persecution and get refuge in Europe. And so they're crossing. So, yeah, you're right. So they're crossing into Libya. And as they're crossing over, they're getting captured by the rebels. And the rebels are selling them into the sex slave trade and just the worst conditions ever. Yeah. And then so 4, you have Egypt and Sinai Peninsula. And basically the Al-Qaeda and Bedouin smugglers. Okay, yeah. So you know more about this stuff than I do. Yeah. They are capturing and selling these slaves into, or these people rather, into slavery. They said there's about 50 human trafficking gangs in that area that are doing it, and they're selling them predominantly into the slave trade. The women, the boys, and the girls. They're turning them into slaves. And then 5 is South Africa. Majority of wine production companies, they say are engaging in the new modern slavery in South Africa. Let's see, they said it's about 250 slaves, and then about 104 of them are being turned into sex slaves or exploited sexually, which is just god awful. But the question that I had was this, and maybe you guys can help me answer it. Now, as I've been hearing about this, especially lately in the news, the question that keeps coming through my mind is, how do we as black people, wherever in the world, how do we as black people keep getting on the receiving end of slavery? The receiving end, or I should say, the brutal end of slavery. How is it that we keep getting turned into slaves, whether it's over here in Africa, wherever? How does that happen? What are we doing wrong?
It's not that what we're doing wrong. It's what we don't have. When you don't have an economic base or an economic structure, you can't even sit at the table because it's all about money. We don't produce anything.
Okay, but to your point, we don't produce anything, but we know Africa is very rich in...
But who owns all the minerals and the rights and things like that? Okay. The white folks.
Right, and so, but how do we keep... Because back in the day, and I'm saying back in the day, you know, like Queen Nzinga and Mansa Musa and all these people back in the day, how did we go from that to where we are now, to where in 2017 we're still hearing about black people all over the world being sold into slavery? And how? I mean, I get it. We don't own anything, but it's like... Because
the capitalist system and the pushing of Christianity onto a native people, you go anywhere in the world, it's the same game. Indians, Native Americans here, same thing.
But at least the Indians, though, they have stuff. You know, I won't say they've been vindicated, because they're never going to be vindicated.
They have stuff until they find something on that land and they run off of that.
Right, so. But at least they've been... Right. I don't know if vindicator is the right word, but they've been...
Well, they've been decimated, right. Yeah, they've been decimated to I don't know what, but...
And then let's see, Al says, George Michael had a song about being natural. Yes, he did. Yeah. And he says, since you and Donovan have bad thoughts about Houston, I guess you can consider my city as a slave country as well. No, I mean...
No, beautiful. Houston is beautiful. It's just they need to change, and it's not all the black people down there. I think it's the black people that I ran across were the ones that were in the... projects or in the areas next to the airport and places like that, where the poorer areas. And with that attitude, you're not going to get any better than where you're at.
So we ain't hating on H-Town, okay? And then Billy says we went from that just like the Indians did, and that's what you were saying. And then Benny says, to this point on taste of hair and preferences and things of that nature, you have brothers that are mentally screwed up, which in turn screws up our women. But trust and believe me, it's all about, let's see more. It's all about, where'd I go? I always lose my place every once in a while. Trust and believe it's all about how much you love yourself and being able to recognize and make yourself available for a brother that is awakened mentally and can appreciate your natural self. But if you're trying to attract the normal sleep brother, then he's going to want to see you look more like a Caucasian as possible because he has no self-awareness. His self couldn't possibly want a sister that is totally in love with herself. And I hope you're listening,
young lady.
Listener, because to me, that was a perfect answer.
Perfect answer.
A man who doesn't know who he is surely will not accept you for who you are in your natural state. He will think your natural hair is ugly, or
right. I mean, you put all that stuff on, fake. Okay, anybody ever see that movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker? Anne-Marie Johnson was in there, and he picks her up at the bar. She's this beautiful, illustrious-looking woman.
Yeah.
He gets her home, and the hair comes off, the eyelashes come off, the leg came off.
Oh,
I mean, it's like, who is this person? And, at the end of the day, you are who you are.
At the end of the day.
So...
Embrace it.
Embrace it, right.
Embrace it. And then so Billy says, your buddy said it right, no financial base. And then Al says, well, hell with it. I'm hating on that terrible California traffic. Well, that's funny. But no, it's true. And then, like a lot of people debate about Mugabe, who was just replaced on Friday as the president.
Interim president right now.
Yeah, there's another president. There was he the vice president originally and he got ran off or something like that?
Yeah, he was exiled and brought back.
He was exiled. And so there's a lot of heated debate regarding that. Some people say he kept the white folks off from taking over.
He did initially, but again, just like when it comes to any black leadership that comes into power, they become part of the system. And I'm not an Obama basher, but you get in there, you do for everybody else but your own.
Right. And then I was reading something, too, the other day. It's just funny that you had mentioned that about Mandela. And this article I was reading said that he pretty much sold out to the white government as well. Once he got out, everybody was, yay, Mandela, Madiba, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, they just put a face on the revolution, and everybody came to a halt.
Yeah, and they're saying that he sold out. I know a lot of people find that disrespectful.
All of the wealth never changed hands. He didn't do anything to change the wealth. Yeah, exactly.
Just a figurehead. And so Al says, shout out to the Hanson soda and Winco chicken, the most natural of all time. The Hanson soda might be, but I don't know about that Winco chicken.
Oh, man. They use a special oil.
Yeah. And so, so that's, I don't know. Like I said, I was always curious, like, how do we keep ending up here?
Ignorance.
How?
Ignorance.
Not just America, but everywhere. We are enslaved.
When you don't control the resources of where you live.
Okay, so then how do we go to controlling the resources? Let me get Jonelle's comment, and you can tell me, since I think you may know.
I do.
And Jonelle says, we are just mentally damaged as black people all over the planet.
He's going to jail.
He's going to jail.
He's going to jail.
For example, how whites are still able to play Africa. Mugabe, we were just talking about Mugabe is just an example. We have been conditioned to lean to white rule and, let's see, white rule and influence via apartheid and slavery. This world needs to be detoxed and decolonized.
Sure, absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't know. You say black leadership has failed?
There's no such thing as successful modern leadership. There's no such thing.
There's no such thing. I don't know if I disagree with that. I don't know. I always like to point out Farrakhan. Now, I know, Farrakhan, comes from the Nation of Islam, and there's been some, this and that behind the Nation of Islam. But if you truly listen to Farrakhan...
No, he has great leadership. We're saying, like, on a level to where...
I know, but, I think... especially if you listen to this man, I'm trying to think, what is he saying that's not true?
No, a lot of what he's saying is true.
What is he saying that's not helpful to black people?
The sad thing is, the United States government does everything they can to suppress that message.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In addition, to, you have a lot of people, a lot of these pastors. I saw something with T.D. Jakes was asked about Farrakhan. Would he consider working with Farrakhan?
F Farrakhan!
He didn't say that, but
basically.
He pretty much said no. He would rather denounce his brother, who is trying to help black people unify, than to piss off. I'm sure T.D. Jakes has a lot of white followers, a lot of people who listen to him. Yeah, so he didn't want to say, well, I would help Farrakhan to help black people unify. Opposed to,
anybody that has that message, you will not last long.
Right, and it's unfortunate. So, geez, to me it's sad. It's like, wow, and I know black people, we are very strong. I mean, we are all that, but we got to stop getting in that situation.
Well, what it is we're very strong and we're very intelligent. Here you are running the dope game in your own community, which isn't very intelligent.
True. We
can do all these things, which requires universal mathematics, logistics, all this stuff with no infrastructure. We can do all that, but instead of taking that and saying, you know what, let's get this on a legit level,
right?
We don't do it.
Right. We got to change that mentality. And Al says, black people have a tough decision tonight, y'all. The TV Soul Train Award, Steve Harvey hosting the Miss Universe pageant, Atlanta Housewives, and NFL. How about none of that toxic?
And who owns the Miss Universe pageant?
Right. Don't Trump own it?
That's right.
Right. So we ain't watching none of that madness. And, speaking of making malt liquor for black people, because Spike Lee said that about Tyler Perry, I watched... the series, She's Gotta Have It.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was great.
That's great.
It was great. I impressed
as good
upon
as the
you
movie?
guys. Yeah, I will say it's because he expanded upon it.
Okay.
I impressed upon you guys to watch it. He talked about gentrification throughout the series. One of the episodes toward the end, oh my gosh, just had me balling. Listen, I ain't no punk. But that episode just had me, and I was just crying. I was mad, and I felt the pain.
The
it was
emotions.
just like, wow, what we really need to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
So anyway, Billy says, I'm hoping that the new meteor that's
that's coming by, the super meteor.
Millions of years old, passes by the earth and change everything.
Yeah.
Passes by the earth, and I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, there's a super giant meteor that's a little bit bigger than the Earth. That's going to pass by us in so many. I don't know if we're going to be around when it happens.
Oh, okay.
It's going to make definitely a good difference, but. I'll give you an example of why we don't control and how we control things that we have.
Okay.
What's going on in the South right now, and Al might be familiar with this, and some of you guys back east might be familiar with this. You have land that was given to black folks, or they had been in their family for generations. Do you know these younger kids are not taught finances, and they are losing that land to the sheriff on sheriff sales because they're not paying the taxes on it. And the white people are coming in and swooping that land up. And I'm saying that because that's going on right in my own hometown, my birth town. My aunt, instead of calling any of us and saying, hey, I'm behind on my taxes, whether I need some help, I mean, wouldn't it be better that I own it and she can still live there versus, nigga, get your ass out of here, whatever the deal is.
Right.
This was a 4-bedroom little house on about 2 acres.
Wow.
It sold for $800.
Now, that's what you call uneducated.
And she wouldn't even pick up the phone to say
$800. She lost all of that?
Lost everything.
Oh my God! Yeah, we got to do better.
And this is how you keep saying, how do we keep following this thing? That's another example, because land resources. If we've got property, they can't gentrify our area if we own all the property.
To you.
Right?
I mean, I absolutely agree.
Exactly, but niggas are like, what? $10,000? I'm out of here. And these kids are selling because they don't know.
Right. So I'm sure you guys heard that, but Donovan is saying that because obviously we don't hold on to the land. Land, real estate, that's where the real power is. Anytime we don't own anything.
The minerals in the land, anything that we can own, the water.
Right, we're going to get out of here. This is mine now. I'm putting a coffee shop right here.
Yeah, and these grandkids get that because we didn't teach them finances.
Right.
And, okay, the land property thing might be $3,000 a year.
Right.
But hey, man, I'm going to give you $10,000 for it.
And real talk, we know a girl who she owns the property. You know what I'm talking about. Lots and lots of acres. But I don't know if she's lost it by now, but she was losing it to, I think it was $2,000 in property taxes. She was going to lose all this prime real estate. And
given 10 years, they're going to be building out there.
Yeah, it's going to be a very lucrative area to live, but it's like, wow. But you're absolutely right about that. And then Al says, I I got to have you and that Winco chicken. If you don't stop talking about, Lord have mercy, it's gonna almost make me want to taste it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It got some good oil.
Billy said they do it with land and houses down here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
But $800, 2 acres, and the structure on top of
now
the home.
that's when you use what you got. No, I'm just playing.
Right. But see, but that also goes to your ignorance and the pride. Well, I don't want to call Uncle so-and-so because I don't want him to tell me nothing. But at least the land would have stayed in the family.
Absolutely. And so
We
John
lost
L.
that.
says, majority of black leaders have been sold or broken. Mugabe, after waking up and breaking from a pawn of the queen and fighting to get the power for the people, will still pray to those who desire to be pawns of whites, and that mental lack of self-preservation is what we truly fail to
Yes.
be engulfed in. We lack a true liberated mind on the whole. Minister Farrakhan is the only true leadership that roots us in self-love. First, to thy own self be true. First, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just not going to win, as you say, Jonelle, if we don't, and Benny says this too, we don't love ourselves.
And if we don't teach our children finances.
We have to teach our children finances.
And here's the bad thing. When you have young ladies who are leading their families and they rather pay $400 to get their hair done versus paying the light bill, the car payment, or the school,
or even saving that money to buy some real estate.
Right, to buy some real estate, we are always going to have a problem because these kids are looking at mommy, and if mommy did it and nobody else is telling them that is why we are losing.
Right, absolutely. And Al says, my coworkers are trying to get me to say the N-word for $100, and I told them no. He will not say that word. I mean,
I'll say it.
I know you will, and I'll say it too. I'm just like,
I'll say it.
It's probably a word I need to flush. I'm getting better, I think. I think. So
no, but I'm starting to say Negro more so than anything else.
So anyway, the last topic that we have on the menu, how much time we got?
We got plenty of time.
Okay, so on the menu is
20 minutes.
Some of you guys, 20 minutes. So some of you guys have been seeing this hashtag float around called Free Centoya Brown.
Yes.
All right.
We did a video on that.
Right, and we did a video on it, and I'm going to post it. So Centoya is a young lady. Well, she's about 30 now, but back in 2004 or so, she was about 16 years old. She was into the sex trades. Her pimp, I guess you can call it, was having her out there as a sex slave. They're saying there's no such thing as a child prostitute, so they called her a sex slave. She ran away from him. He was a bad dude. Name is Cutthroat. Ran away from him to go prostitute. That's what they're saying back then. Prostitute in a different city. And she said this herself. Prostitute in a different city. As she was going to do that, she met a guy, a white man by the name of Johnny Allen. He propositioned her for sex. They negotiated $150. He took her back to his house. They got into bed. She said she thought he was going to shoot her because he was making her nervous. And so she reached in her things and got her gun and shot him in the back of the head. Now, she also took off with his wallet, his car, and his guns and all that other stuff. A couple days later, she turned herself in, saying she was the one that was responsible for it. As she's going through the trial, the preliminary hearing, the judge had an opportunity to try her as an adult or a minor. The judge decided to try her as an adult. And when she was sentenced to life. She's eligible for parole when she turns 69. Now, I don't know, and a lot of people are not really for sure where this hashtag or why it started trending again, or her story rather started trending, but it was the likes of Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, T.I., and a couple other people who started, Free Centoya, and then they started giving this watered down version of what happened. And so they're saying that heroically she killed her captor. She killed the man who was, I guess trying to rape her. This is the story that's going around. And so as I started to see the hashtag, I was like, well, let me look into it because this is, what's going on. This is very sad.
Yeah, I heard about this story years ago.
In jail and all
I heard about
stuff.
this story years ago.
So, and you heard about it years ago. And so once I started to research and I watched a documentary called Me Facing Life. It's a very interesting documentary called Me Facing Life, and from her own mouth, everything I just told you, she said. In fact, she admitted that she executed him. And so, was the dude a bad dude because he, bought, I guess, a 16-year-old child for sex? Absolutely.
Doesn't everybody do that?
No, everybody doesn't do that. It's not normal.
Well, in Congress, you're seeing all these sex guys coming out.
We ain't talking about Congress, okay? Or Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood.
But You know, so he's a bad dude. You know, he bought this girl for sex. You know, I'm sure he could tell because she looks like a baby. During back then,
Yeah,
she looked like a child.
She looked like
she didn't look like a grown woman,
like an 8-9-year-old girl.
Yeah, she looked very young. And so, no, he's a bad dude. In fact, I think she got the deal she got it because he was painted as this upstanding, you know, real estate agent in the community. And
also, in fact, this part, very important part of the story. This takes place in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee. And so she was, you know, he was painted as this, you know, well-to-do real estate agent, and we can't allow his legacy and him be painted in this bad light. And so I believe that helped her to get a life sentence. Now, she had been through a lot of stuff in her life, but the narrative that I'm going to get to you guys' comments, narrative that a lot of people were painting was that she was a victim and she was a hero for doing what she did. In essence, this little girl murdered this man, is what he did. In cold blood, I don't know, but she murdered him. The forensic pictures, you can see him laying on his hands. So he wasn't reaching for anything. He was asleep when she shot him. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what happened. And so I guess I brought that up is because a lot of times we are guilty of ginning the mob unnecessarily. Also, I wanted to talk about Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, well, you guys probably seen this meme going around with Franklin, is the Thanksgiving.
I put it up too.
Yeah.
I put that up.
The Thanksgiving
and
photo.
Nobody understood what that was.
Yeah, well, everybody from the narratives I was seeing, they were saying, "Oh, Charles Schultz was the originator, the creator of Charlie Brown and the Peanuts, rather. Mm-hmm. He was racist because he had Franklin sitting across the table from
by
everybody
himself,
else,
right? By himself.
I'm like, okay, well, people just do their research. They would see that it wasn't that he was racist that he put him across the way. He was integrating Franklin into
the group,
the cartoons because the cartoon didn't have any black characters. And the school teacher appealed to him and said, well, why don't you start putting black characters in there? Mm-hmm. He says, you know what, I agree, but I got to do it slowly because we're still integrated and all sorts of stuff. So that was his way of introducing
the
Franklin.
character.
So it wasn't like, I'm going to put this little nigga in here, you know, so
and
people
keep him separated.
Yeah, and then there are people talking about, he has him in a pink chair. Oh, that must mean he was trying to make him gay. And I'm like...
Yeah, everybody reads into it more than what it is.
I mean, trust me, I'm not saying no subliminal stuff don't take place, but I just think people, we need to be responsible in the things that we put out there. Stop ginning the mob unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think Centoya Brown deserves life? No. I think they should have tried her as a child. I don't think they should have tried her as an adult. I think with the momentum of it, because they said if she was tried now, she would have been labeled a sex worker.
She wouldn't even been tried.
Right, she would have been tried as an adult. She would have been tried as a child.
Let me intercede there. Let me intercede there. And if you guys are going to look up that story, there's also another story very similar of a young lady named Sarah Cruzan. And she's actually from Riverside, California, right down the street from where Dee lives, where this happened on University Avenue. She ended up killing her pimp to get away, and she was abused, and her mother didn't.
She won her appeal, right? She
won, and she finally won, but she did like 19 years in jail. And I said it on the show. I said it in our video. No child is disposable.
I agree with that.
So
I agree. And so Al says, yes, free Centoya Brown and her parents for giving her that name. You know what? And Samuel, hey, what's happening? He said capitalism is the great evil. Kwame Ture said we will never be free until Africa is free. The AAPRP pushes, I almost said the AARP, like the old people, pushes one unified Africa under scientific socialism. I mean, absolutely. And I agree with that. If Africa's not free, we're none of us are free. So it's like we got to stop having this, 360. Okay, now Africa's in slavery. I mean, and I joke about this a lot, but how soon is it before we're back in slavery? If we don't,
it won't be long.
How long before it takes for us to be shackles on my feet?
Well, a lot of people don't want to hear this about the Illuminati, the one world government, stuff like that. That is actually a real thing.
Slavery?
The one world government and all that. That's
absolutely.
Actually a real thing.
Absolutely.
People don't want to talk about it because it is too real. But that is what's going on right now.
Oh, absolutely. And Jonelle says, we don't understand the economic power that we are. Why we were enslaved in the first place and how we are economic benefits to everyone truly, but ourselves. We are truly due to our ignorance and lack of production in a greater form of indentured slavery and a system rooted in Dred Scott, a prey to justice. Yeah, I mean, We always talk about this here. I mean, just in America, shit,
It's
we
deep.
are worth $1.3 trillion annually, and we trick off almost all of that.
There is no Christmas if black people do not participate.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know what? And listen, I'm no shade to the guy on my timeline. I'm not even gonna say his name. But do you know? I saw a brother say, "Don't." They're all the. And I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said all these so-called woke people telling y'all not to go out there and spend money during Christmas. Shoot, if something's on sale, go get it. Don't be a fool. That's what he said, and you know he had like so many people liking and agreeing with that, and I'm like, we do it to ourselves.
So,
I mean, we honestly do.
So basically, for principle, so you're an unprincipled person. So,
Yeah,
so you're just going to
yeah.
go out there. So let's follow the unprincipled person.
Right, and let's continue hurting your race.
Yeah, right.
If you can go to, the white man and get a washing machine.
I'm with y'all. I just got to get here, get some zigzags.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna
That's
get
the
some
mentality.
zigzags.
I agree with you, but I need to run in here real
Get some
quick
zigzags.
and give me some zigzags. And then Samuel says also that white supremacy / capitalism doesn't work some of the time. It works all the time. It makes the onslaught of us against us seem invincible or invisible.
Yeah,
rather.
invisible. Yeah. Well, capitalism in its purest form is very brutal. That is why we're losing.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
And we don't, like you said to your earlier point, we don't have a grasp on what it actually means to be financially productive.
Right. Right.
And then so Allie says, black character on Charlie Brown, to hell with that, because they don't sell the Dolly Madison donuts anymore. That used to be the first commercial they would take.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Yes. Absolutely. Today in Black History, Al, give us another.
Stay away from them damn donuts. They're poison.
Give us
They're not
another
like
Black
they used
History
to be.
lesson. That
Right.
was really good.
And then Billy says that's why they are trying to. That's what they're trying to do. Put us back at the bottom. Well, Billy.
I think we're already at the bottom. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, we are at the bottom.
But if we're not at the bottom, we're pretty close. And so that not only they're trying to put us there, but they're trying to keep us there.
Well, what's below us? Dirt. So I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know anybody that gets treated the way we get treated.
Well, because as everybody keeps saying on here, we lack self-love.
Right.
If we don't treat ourselves with respect, then
Exactly.
we can't really
I mean,
expect everybody
the black
else to.
man, the black woman don't get along. I mean, we're just at constant state of war. I mean, if we can't get
Right.
along with each other, how are we going to deal with this white man and this
True.
Asian man? And how
they
do we
know
compete?
that. That's why they keep
Right.
us divided.
Right. How do
and
we
we
compete?
help them. And Jonelle says she did the right thing and need to be set free. It's just another raper. The injustice system saw another cash cow in her being locked up rather than her being free. And so many of our women being...
Yes, that is the biggest group of the incarcerated
locked up, yeah.
locked up.
He said
and for
there's-
weave,
Stop.
A lot of it's for weave.
He said the system, free our women, period, due to the fact that blacks have never gotten justice, period, and are judged by those who are the oppressors, and the reasons why they're able. The criminals to be the judge is due to being an oppressive oppressive position. We want true justice or else. And then me and Donovan taled about this too.
Yeah, go see our video that we put out last week.
I'm going to post it.
Loving the Skin I'm In. We talked exactly about judification and all of that stuff.
And to your point, Joe, now we talked about, a lot of times we get the jury summons and we're like, I ain't going to jury duty. They only paying us $15 a day. Shit, I got shit to do. I ain't going. But yeah, we don't know. Well, we should know that when it says a jury of your peers, it's supposed to be juries of people who are like you. And so when we don't show up, then we're going to get an all-white jury, which is what I think she had. The judge obviously was white, and so we
from Tennessee.
Right, and so when it comes time to vote for local elections, we don't look into the judges and see what their track record is. Oh, okay, they got a conviction rate 97% of all black people. Okay, let me take myself down there to the poll and vote for somebody who was more friendly toward black people. We don't do those things. Instead, we complain about it. Oh gosh, they locking us up. Yeah, because we don't have a jury of our peers or a judge.
A current news. There's a guy that is facing a federal judgmentship for lifetime judgmentship. Never tried a case. He has a law degree.
Right. So those are the cats that are getting on as becoming judges. And Billy says, "Laugh, I know I can't believe it. Yet I have you have hope." No, I mean, I don't know if we're at the bottom. I think we're pretty close. Maybe.
I believe we're at the bottom, but that's my opinion.
I would say we're close. I mean,
What is under us? Because right now, right here where we live in Riverside, California, Mexicans are putting up businesses. They're doing this. They're doing that.
All right, we're at the bottom of the totem pole. Okay,
yes.
I was trying to hold out some hope.
Yes, we're at the bottom. The Indians have a casino, so everybody's getting on.
That is a laughing matter because it's not. But
yeah.
we getting there, y'all. Why do y'all think the FBI and all these other groups?
They're keeping us down. They don't want us to wake up.
They're trying to.
Right.
You got these white supremacist groups. They're doing what they're doing because they're scared. Mm-hmm. They know what they've done to us for the last almost 500 years. Payback is a mother.
Coming, and it's coming.
They know that, so let's try to keep them down. Let's keep them oppressed. Let's try to keep them, thinking that they're bad and all this. Let's do that. But we're waking up. We're starting to, as I like to say, fight back. Mm-hmm. Long gone are the days where that was my phone. Where we're turning the other cheek. Another one.
And if we can get these moms and dads and people to stop letting their children walk into the industrial prison complex,
right? I agree.
And turn that around.
I agree.
Man, the money that we would save and the things that we can do if we did that.
And I was, me and Al was having this conversation earlier. That a lot of times we think because our children are not chronologically children anymore, that we don't have the right to say nothing to them. Or, they grown and I really can't. I'll tell you this much. My daughter would be 25 in less than a month. But she know I'm crazy. And she know I will snatch a knot in herself if I have to. I mean, I don't have to. Right. I can't say, well, she's grown. But if I see her kind of going wayward, I feel like as her mother, it is my duty to say, you know what? I think you might want to come over this way.
Right.
That way is probably not where you want to go. And you're right. We got to stop making it.
Like it's a rite of passage.
Yeah. So acceptable where, Johnny locked up again.
Mm-hmm. And then stop taking your kids up there to see Johnny or to see Gail in the prison. Because when I went to the prison that one time, they thought the kids acted like it was a...
Well, because a lot of them probably, that's the only environment they've seen their mom or daddy. And,
exactly.
They thought,
and then they walk right into it.
Well, in their case, it was a woman's prison. So, they thought, well, this is where the only place I've known mommy to be,
right.
So, it's like Disneyland. Mm-hmm. And then Billy says, I believe I'm on top, always have. Me too.
Yes. I mean, there's some of us doing well. There's some of us doing well.
I mean, but it's all in your mind, as a man thinketh. Mm-hmm. I impress upon everybody to read or listen to that on YouTube by James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. If you feel like you on top and you believe that you are on top, so I'm with you on that one. And Billy says, not money or status, but because I am black. That's right, brother. Mm-hmm. I always say...
we have to get that message out.
Yes. No matter what black people have gone through, what I've gone through, because I've experienced a lot of racism in my life, I always say, however, I am glad I'm black. I wouldn't want to be nothing else. Even if I had an opportunity to come back as something else, I would say, you know what? I want to be black.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you even asking me something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us doing really well. I mean, you'll be surprised when people will see me in my pilot jacket if I'm walking around that. I mean, white people are just surprised that... It's
a costume.
Yeah. hey, nigga. What are you doing with that wings on?
A lot of people, because Donovan's a pilot, or he's an ex-pilot, but people ask him, were you a pilot?
Yeah, and
fly planes?
And they're shocked.
Them ask them that. I'm like,
and
is that odd?
It's very odd, especially, and it's really sad when our own people are in disbelief.
Nah, you got that jacket from the Goodwill.
The Goodwill,
And Jonelle says, we're at the bottom of the ship. We are non-producing people. We are gradually getting our mind right. Yeah. I was, listen, y'all, I was trying to be hopeful. I was trying to find that, that light at the end of the bottom of the totem pole. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Absolutely. It's not, all bad news for us. We are waking up and we are starting to see the light.
But maybe it should be bad news because when there ain't nothing left, you can't do nothing but fight back.
Right. I agree with you. So that's what we are as black people. How much time we got?
We got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
He's about to say we got a lot of time. And then got 2 minutes, and he's gonna be like. So anyway, y'all. That's all I have. And as always, I thank everybody on the YouTube, Facebook Live, the podcast for joining us. It is always my pleasure to do this, to learn what it is we need to do to get from the bottom of the totem pole.
Get from the ground.
Get from the ground, really. But we're getting there, y'all. Yeah. We are getting there. And Jonelle, you also say, let's see how many lights go up and how much ho happens next month.
Yeah.
Their system of Xmas rakes in so much money. And their New Year's James Allen work is a great read. Yes, it is. I always tell people, read it. It's not long. It's very short. Read it and listen to it on YouTube. It is just... It'll get your mind right.
Yes.
It will.
Yes. You guys, please like, share, look at the video, share it, get the message out there. It can't get any better. This has been the Dimitri K Show on the podcast. So check us out. And you guys that are listening live, check her out. Check the video out. Tell us what you think.
Peace, you guys, on the podcast. And to you guys on Facebook Live, I'm going to get out of here. I've been fighting a cold for the last couple days. You guys. And Jonelle said, Ground Zero's the door to the new. Absolutely. Where else are we going to go? And Billy says,